All right, welcome back. And this is our GMC Sierra tweet of the night, and it's from Neil Walker. Throwback days when he was at Pine Richland, wishing the Steelers well. Pittsburgh pulling for Pittsburgh. That's how it goes. And it'll be interesting to see how this whole first week goes. There are a lot of compelling games. And you know, Andrew, I know like I get involved in these knockout polls where you're trying to pick just one way. It is hard to pick one team that you think is going to win because, you know, to try to do it over the course of 16, 17 weeks now is almost impossible. I don't think anyone lasts that long.
All right, who are you going with, Bob? Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Baltimore, actually. I think Baltimore is going to beat Joe Flacco and the Jets. So that's going to be my team. Now, I resisted because I thought Denver was a good pick at Seattle with the fact that Seattle's just not very good. You don't think the Jets are going to win?
That's a sketchy pick in my opinion,
well, what's
Bob.
Your pick?
Be careful with that one. Well, let me make fun of yours first.
I'm not making fun of anything. I'm just telling you that's my pick. And quite frankly, the Ravens are a better team than the Jets.
How do you do that? How do you do that when you don't know about Lamar Jackson's contract? If he doesn't get that thing signed, do you think he's really going to want to run the ball 20 times a game and put his body on the line again? And if the answer to that is no, then what kind of quarterback are they left with? Last year, 16 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. I didn't think Lamar Jackson was very good, did you?
No, but I think he had his MVP season. I think there's a lot to like about his game. And quite frankly, I don't think he's going to change his style. He still has a lot to play for. I think he'll play the way he's played all the way through this. And I think their cast of characters is deeper and better and injury-free this year, Andrew. So I think Baltimore is going to be my pick because it's hard to pick one other pick. If it's not that one, what do you pick?
I think San Francisco goes to the Bears and destroys that team. The Bears picked up 5 guys off waivers when cutdowns happened. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know about that roster with a first-year coach? I think Fields is one of these guys that might get eaten up by just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Because I think if he had gone to a more stable franchise, I think he would have developed into a pretty good quarterback. Now, maybe he still will, but I'm concerned about his future given the upheaval in Chicago. A terrible line. Not a lot of weapons. Defensive players left like Mack and Hicks up front. I think the Niners go in there, even without Kittle, Bob. And I think they hand it to the Bears.
They might. But I can see that potentially being a problem right out of the chute also because Trey Lance is really meaningful in the first game of the year that he's going to be in charge of everything. I don't know how he's going to respond.
Oh, so you're going against Starkey. Uh-oh, you're sowing discord because Starkey picked him to win the MVP. So be careful. Tiptoe in there on Monday. You know, we'll put you into the interrogation room.
I know,
he likes to pin you down on things. Look out, Bob.
I think it was that good he would have started last year ahead of Jimmy Garoppolo because Garoppolo, quite frankly, was okay, not great. But I think now they feel like they have to do it. Jimmy Garoppolo was not great.
If the Steelers get if the Steelers get last year's Jimmy Garoppolo out of Mitch Trubisky, they'll be dancing in the street. People will be streaking all over downtown Pittsburgh. You'd have to watch out all the nudity that you'd see in Market Square.
Well,
if Mitch Trubisky has Jimmy Garoppolo's kind of season, the Steelers would be dying for that.
But there were so many more components to that team, not just him. I don't think it was he didn't lead them to the NFC Championship. Yes, he was the quarterback, but to me, he was not the number one reason why they got
agree, Bob. I agree, but if the 49ers were winning games, how do you bench Garoppolo? It's the same thing with Trubisky.
They did this year, didn't they? They went to the NFC Championship and they said, see you later. We have a new quarterback. So,
well, I agree with that because I don't think Garoppolo's a very good quarterback, and I feel the same way about Trubisky. There are certain guys where their win-loss record is padded and overrated. And sometimes it's the other way around. Like Matthew Stafford, at this time last year, Bob, people were doubting Matthew Stafford. And he went and won a Super Bowl because he had never won a playoff game before.
Yeah, and he made big plays.
Trubisky's been to the playoffs twice.
He was. I don't think anyone doubted his arm or that he couldn't do it. It was just he needed a better team around him, and he got it. All right, I saw these odds. The Steelers are 80-1 to win a championship. Now, normally when you get to 81, I'm not going to make that bet. I'd consider 30, 40-1, things of that nature. But 80-1 sounds awfully difficult. But I know people who made that bet today, Andrew, and I'm surprised that people would do it. Is it ridiculous odds? Is that fair?
Yes.
Is that where it should be? Because I don't think they've ever been this bad to start a season, at least not recently.
They haven't under Tomlin. Yeah, they were 50-1 last year. So this
I
is
didn't know
even
that.
worse.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a big change from even last year. Now, they were the defending AFC North champs last year. This team got in at 9-7-1 and got blown out by Kansas City. And honestly, if you look at the stats, offensively and defensively, they weren't very good. They just had key close wins, clutch wins last year with big plays from guys like T.J. Watt and Big Ben. Look, I think the Bengals are the class of the division. I think the Ravens could go either way. I think the Steelers will finish ahead of the Browns, but my issue is the AFC is just so deep. You know, in another year, I might like you say 9-8. They find their way, they backdoor their way in. But I think there are 3 AFC West teams that are better than them. I think there are 2 AFC East teams better than them. You know, I think there might even be 2 AFC South teams. You know, I'm very high on the Colts this year, and I'm telling you, look out for Jacksonville. You were down there for a game. I think they're coming on with better coaching. And I think Trevor Lawrence is going to make a meteoric rise from year 1 to year 2, the same way Joe Burrow did last year in Cincinnati.
All right, before we go to break, I want to could we get a caller on? We have Dino in Indiana. Dino, can we do this? How are you?
Hello, Dino.
I'm good. All I wanted to ask you guys, well, great show to start with. I finally get to watch it since I retired. But do you think the Steelers have enough to make the playoffs this year?
Well, I think Andrew just described how difficult it will be in the AFC, and I think that's true of a lot of teams in the AFC. They're going to be knocking each other around with some of these head-to-head matchups. I think the Steelers have to get off to a tremendous start, and that would include wins in Cincinnati and Cleveland. I think the best way to do this is to win or be competitive in your own division till the end, and you got to win these division games. It's not going to be easy for them. Cleveland, to me, is more winnable right now than Cincinnati. I don't think, Andrew, they can go to Cleveland and lose that game, given no Deshaun Watson. That's got to be a win in my book.
Well, it's a short week. You know, Cleveland has lost 17 straight Week 1 games.
I know.
17
Since 2004.
in a row.
It's hard to believe.
Since 2004. You're so good with these stats, Bob. You knew that answer.
I just know how bad Cleveland's been.
Hey, Baker Mayfield wants revenge. Sometimes guys go too far with that, and I would be very worried if I'm the Panthers that he's going to try to win the game single-handedly, which he tried to do a lot last year in Cleveland, Bob, and that's the reason why he's not their quarterback anymore. So are the Panthers going to be able to get through to Baker Mayfield in a way that the Browns weren't able to?
We'll see. That's one of those games I was going to pick also in a knockout. Just go with Baker Mayfield right off the bat. But I'll probably be knocked out because I would go that way, so that's why I chose Baltimore. We're going to take a break, come back. More calls on the way right here on Pittsburgh CW and 93.7 The Fan. Don't go away.